Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayana Namaskritya Naram Jaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayatu Dhiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should humbly offer his obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. So, Hare Krishna. I'm happy to be with you and to give class. I really wanted to give class, and I've been having some health challenges and I'm not hearing well, but it was the best treatment to prepare for class. And as I was wanting to speak about also my realizations from India and Ayurvedic retreat, Krishna arranged that in this purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions Ayurveda. So we're going to start with the verse. Durbago bata lokoyam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Ye samvasanto navidur.
Ye samvasanto navidur.
Harimina ivodupam.
Harimina ivodupam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Ye samvasanto navidur.
Ye samvasanto navidur.
Harimina ivodupam.
Harimina ivodupam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Samvasanto navidur.
Yasamvasanto navidur.
Harimina ivodupam.
Harimina ivodupam. Durbago bata lokoyam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Ye samvasanto navidur.
Samvasanto navidur.
Harimina ivodupam.
Harimina ivodupam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Ye samvasanto navidur.
Ye samvasanto navidur.
Harimina ivodupam.
Harimina ivodupam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Durbago bata lokoyam.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Yadavo nitaramapi.
Yesamvasanto navidur.
Samvasanto navidur.
Harimina ivodupam.
Harimina ivodupam. Durbaga.
Durbaga.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
Bata.
Bata.
Certainly.
Certainly.
Loka.
Loka.
Universe.
Universe.
I am.
I am.
This.
This.
Yadava.
Yadava.
Yadu dynasty.
Yadu dynasty.
Nitaram.
Nitaram.
More specifically,
More specifically,
api,
api.
also,
Also.
ye,
Yea.
those,
Those.
sambasanta,
Sampasanta.
living together,
Living together.
na,
Na.
did not,
Did not.
vidu,
Vidu.
understand,
Understand.
arim,
Reign.
the personality of Godhead,
The personality of Godhead.
mina,
Mina.
the fishes,
The fishes.
Eva,
Eva.
Eva udupam,
Eva Udupam.
like the moon.
Like the moon.
Translation. This universe with all its planets is most unfortunate. And even more unfortunate are the members of the Yadu dynasty, because they could not identify Lord Hari as the personality of Godhead, any more than the fish could identify the moon. Uddhava lamented for the unfortunate persons of the world who could not recognize Lord Sri Krishna, in spite of seeing all his... Oh, that's the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Uddhava lamented for the unfortunate persons of the world who could not recognize Lord Sri Krishna, in spite of seeing all his transcendental godly qualities. From the very beginning of his appearance within the prison bars of King Kamsa, up to his Marsala Leela, although he exhibited his potencies as the personality of Godhead in the 6 opulences of wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, the foolish persons of the world could not understand that he was the Supreme Lord. Foolish persons might have thought him an extraordinary historic figure because they had no intimate touch with the Lord, but more unfortunate were the family members of the Lord, the members of the Yadu dynasty, who were always in company with the Lord, but were unable to recognize him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Uddhava lamented his own fortune, also because although he knew Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could not properly use the opportunity to render devotional service to the Lord. He regretted everyone's misfortune, including his own. The pure devotee of the Lord thinks himself most unfortunate. That is due to excessive love for the Lord and is one of the transcendental perceptions of viraha, the suffering of separation. It is learned from the revealed scriptures that the moon was born from the milk ocean. There is a milk ocean in the upper planets, and there Lord Vishnu, who controls the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the Supersoul, resides as the Kshiradakashai Vishnu. Those who do not believe in the existence of the ocean of milk because they have experience only of the salty water in the ocean should know that the world is also called the go, which means the cow. The urine of a cow is salty, and according to Ayurvedic medicine, the cow's urine is very effective in treating patients suffering from liver trouble. Such patients may not have any experience of the cow's milk because milk is never given to liver patients. But the liver patient may know that the cow has milk also, although he has never tasted it. Similarly, men who have experience only of this tiny planet where the saltwater ocean exists may take information from the revealed scriptures that there is also an ocean of milk, although we have never seen it. From this ocean of milk the moon was born, but the fish in the milk ocean could not recognize that the moon was not another fish and was different from them. The fish took the moon to be one of them, or maybe something illuminating, but nothing more. The unfortunate persons who do not recognize Lord Krishna are like such fish. They take him to be one of them, although a little extraordinary in opulence, strength, etc. The Bhagavad Gita confirms such foolish persons to be most unfortunate. Avajananti mam muda manushin tanumashritam. Umagyanaatimirandasya gyananjana shalakaya jakshuram militam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsta Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kanjana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishvabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evaja Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prajarini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vastitya Desha Tarini. So this verse turned my world upside down, and I lost orientation, which is my state at the moment too. I don't hear on my right side of the ear, and it just brings everything, confuses everything. So it didn't matter. I thought, okay, my world is turned upside down again. It says here, this universe with all its planets is most unfortunate, and the past years I've been working on my consciousness to become grateful, to consider myself fortunate. No, like I'm fortunate to be born in this universe, in this, like on this planet Earth. It's the universe where Krishna appeared only 500 years ago as Lord Chaitanya, and maybe 5,000 years ago as Lord Krishna himself, the original personality of Godhead. So that's very fortunate. And also I learned the planet Earth has a name. Her name is Bhumi, and she's a pure devotee of God. So every day my feet touch the body of a pure devotee of God. So that's very fortunate. And also I learned Lord Brahma, the creator of our universe, the first living entity in the universe, is also a pure devotee of God. He saw Krishna and he got direct instruction from Krishna, and he created this universe that I'm in. So this is very fortunate. It's not every universe that the Brahma, the creator of the universe, is a pure devotee. So very fortunate. And then Surya, the sun. There was no one to take the post of the sun, so Krishna expanded himself, or Vishnu, Narayan expanded himself and took the post. So our sun that we see every day, that rises in the morning and gives warmth and light and helps us be in a happy mood, it's Krishna himself. So this is very fortunate. That it's not like that in every universe. And there are hundreds, millions of, I don't know how many universes. So I should be fortunate. That's been my meditation. And now I read this verse. And this universe is unfortunate, and everyone's unfortunate. Even those who were present when Lord Krishna was here on the planet, also they're unfortunate. So I wanted to find out. I felt actually some relief. I thought, oh, perhaps I'll find some justification for my tendency to be miserable and depressed and feeling like I'm so unfortunate. I might find some justification in this verse. So I didn't. Well, maybe a little bit. But I started to like put my mind to this and understand how come is this universe unfortunate? And so here's what I learned, what I discovered reading Srila Prabhupada's purport and looking in other places, is that the person who is speaking here, it's important to understand that it's Uddhava. Uddhava, he's speaking to Vidura. And Vidura, we heard not so long ago, Vidura, he was on a pilgrimage. He was actually sent away by his brother, and he went on a pilgrimage. He took the opportunity to go on a pilgrimage. And when he came back, he wanted to visit his family, but his family was gone. And also Krishna was no longer present, and he found Uddhava. And Uddhava is described as one of the most intimate friends of Lord Krishna. So Vidura, he wanted to understand what happened and how everyone is, and Uddhava. So this is where we hear Uddhava responding. The chapter is called Remembrance of Lord Krishna. So Uddhava shares, and there's actually, not so long ago, we read in Krishna book the chapter where Uddhava visited Vrindavan. Krishna was away, had left for Mathura, and he heard that all the inhabitants of Vrindavan were very sad, so he wanted to send them a message, and he sent Uddhava to bring a message to Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and cowherd boys and cowherd girls, the gopis. It's a very beautiful chapter. And then later on in Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll hear how Uddhava shares that he also wanted to go back to his family, and there was no one left. He found Krishna. Krishna was sitting at the river Sarasvati. That's just before Krishna left this planet. And Krishna, it's a very beautiful conversation. I look forward to going there in a few months or years, I don't know how long. But it's Krishna actually said to Uddhava then later on that this was his last life in the material world, that Uddhava, like in a previous life, desired to be with Lord Krishna, to associate with him, and in that life he got the opportunity to associate with Krishna. So Uddhava, he's a pure devotee, and it's described in the purport that the pure devotee always feels like he's unfortunate. He always sees everyone engaged in Krishna's service and not himself, not himself. And so Uddhava had this feeling like, oh, I missed the opportunity to serve Krishna. I associated with him, but I missed the opportunity to engage in loving devotional service, which for us, for me, is like strange, because when I hear what Uddhava did for Lord Krishna and the mood he was in, the love he had for Krishna and for those who are most dear to Krishna, I would say this is loving devotional service. But Uddhava, he didn't feel that way. And so that's the reason why he says unfortunate. That's what I got from this, that a pure devotee is not satisfied with associating with God, and he's not satisfied to see others associating with God, with Krishna, without realizing that they are. And he considers that unfortunate. And what I understand, a pure devotee, his only desire is to serve. There is no desire to be liberated or to be free from distress or suffering. Like the only intention is to serve Krishna with love and devotion. It's what Lord Chaitanya describes in the Shikshastakam. Like he prays to actually he expresses, like, no matter how you treat me, Lord Krishna, you can embrace me or you can be harsh to me, I will serve. serve you. I will never give up. And so I came to the conclusion that's why Uddhava speaks of the universe and the members of the Yadu dynasty and also himself as unfortunate. Even though from my point of view, it must be so fortunate to associate with Krishna. And from Uddhava's point of view, association is not enough. Like the true bliss, like the topmost bliss is to be in service and to not want anything else but to please Krishna. Yeah, and then we hear about it's very, I actually find it very interesting that Prabhupada uses this analogy, speaking of Ayurveda and the cow's urine and cow's milk. He could use something else, but no, it's Ayurveda. So I'm going to speak a little bit about Ayurveda and my experience I had, because it's very related, I think. Like so Srila Prabhupada uses an analogy, and when I was in India in the Ayurveda retreat, I felt like I was experiencing an analogy of Bhagavad Gita and of Vedic knowledge. It was like being put into a theater or some scene where everything was arranged in a way that I could get so much more like understanding and trust and faith in what we learned from Srila Prabhupada and Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And it was, as I said, I was considering to perhaps not give class today because my body is like imbalance, has been sick. And when I read Ayurveda, I thought, okay, no, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because the first thing I learned about Ayurveda before I took a retreat was the definition of health from the point of view of Ayurveda, and that is svasta. And svasta means situated in the self. So that's what they see as the center of health is, or the beginning of health. Health starts with being situated in the self, and then from that they see that that there are three different causes of imbalance or sickness. And one is like we're not hearing to the inner wisdom. We're acting in contradiction to the inner wisdom. That's a cause of imbalance and cause of sickness. And another cause of sickness is to like overuse the senses or not engage them in a proper way. So it's like not really knowing the vehicle, not really knowing our body, and not knowing the boundaries of the body, or not accepting, respecting the boundaries of the body. So that can cause imbalance and sickness. And there's a third like root cause, is that we live out of the rhythm, out of the natural rhythm. Like if we look at nature, there's a natural rhythm in nature, just with the seasons. There's spring, summer, autumn, winter, and in every season, nature naturally does different things that are just logic. Like in winter, when it's cold, the plants, they just withdraw all the juices. And then when it's spring, all the juices come out and all the flowers come and the leaves come out, and it makes sense. Like what's the point in producing flowers when they're going to freeze? So similarly, we do things sometimes that just are not appropriate to the surrounding or to the time or to our body, and that's a cause for sickness. And when we start by understanding who we are, servants of God, as spirit souls, from there we can learn to hear our inner guidance, super soul, our inner wisdom. We can learn how to follow it. We can learn how to, we learn how to make distinctions, to observe, and to take wise action. And it's a science. What I learned is it's a science that gives everything that's happening a reason and a meaning, like a scientific meaning. And it's like just feelings, for example, like a core understanding of Ayurveda is our feelings are our medicine. So if our feelings are our medicine, what's the point in suppressing feelings or avoiding feelings or pushing them away? Like they are our medicine. And also just the fact that we get out of balance, that's natural. It's natural to get out of balance. Our whole life is about finding balance again and again and again. And also nature is always seeking balance. The natural thing is to go out of balance. And so even being out of balance, sickness is seen as an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity for self-realization. And our bodies are made of the elements, like the same elements that nature is made of. So the basic elements: air, ether, air, water, fire, earth. And each element has certain qualities. So naturally, when it's winter and it's cold outside, that affects our body. And it's good to make adjustments so that our body isn't cold and doesn't get out of balance. So when I was in this Ayurveda retreat, this analogy in life, I noticed, like, okay, so this is an opportunity for me to cure like a lifelong imbalance of too much air, too much like not being grounded, too much fear, too much anxiety for many, many years. And what I understood is the cause of this anxiety is actually lack of trust in God, lack of trust in Krishna. And a sense of, I have to control everything. If I don't take care, no one else will. So, and not just for myself, also for my family, my children, my husband, my friends, everyone actually. I have to make sure everyone's happy and well. And of course, that creates a lot of anxiety. It's a form of thinking, I am God, or I should be like God. I should have the same ability as God. And it's been cause for anxiety for all my life, maybe many, many lifetimes. Thinking I have to take care of myself. If I don't, no one else will. And no one can help me. No one can help me. So I got like an intense treatment for my body. And I gave myself intense treatment in Bhakti Yoga. I spent a lot of time chanting and reading and hearing classes. And I was there during the time just before Gora Purnima. So I read a lot about Lord Chaitanya's appearance, and I meditated on the Shikshastakam. And I understood part of healing is to be humble. To be humble, to accept I cannot control everything. I cannot even help myself. And I don't have to. I don't have to. And that's like the hardest thing for me to understand. I don't have to. And it's still going on. And it's very interesting because, as I said, my right ear is closed. It's like blocked. And when I bow down to Srila Prabhupada or the deities, the block goes away. So I have spent a lot of time bowing down just not to feel this pressure. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. That's like what Ayurveda says. Like every illness, every imbalance is an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity for self-realization. It's an opportunity to practice humility. And when I say an analogy, the Ayurvedic retreat was created by a doctor who knows Bhagavad Gita. He knows all the verses inside out. He can recite any verse, like you can tell him a number, chapter and text, and he'll recite it. And he built this Ayurveda retreat based on the principles of Bhagavad Gita. So very, very sattvic place, and like every living entity has its place. So when they built the center, there was a big tree. This is just one example. There was a big tree, and they didn't want to cut the tree. But according to Vastu, the Vedic architecture, it was the perfect place to build the house. So what they did, they just created a big, like a courtyard. What do you say? And they built the house so the tree can be in this courtyard, and the tree didn't need to be cut. And they planted special plants in one corner of the property that snakes like. So all the snakes live in that place. So every living entity has its place. And also the human beings, he employed different kinds of people from different tribes. He said it was a challenge because the caste system is very deeply ingrained in the consciousness of people, and there are some, and he employed outcasts, dog eaters, I don't know all these names, and he also employed Brahmins, and, like just according to this thinking, and everyone is respected. So there's the person who takes care of the night guard. He guards the place at night. And there's the sweepers, the ladies who come to sweep every morning. And there's the cooks, the chefs in the kitchen. And they're all engaged according to their abilities, and they're all very happy, very joyful. Like the ladies sweeping the floor, I would ask them, how are you? Happy, I'm happy. They're happy every day. And then there's the therapists and the doctors, and so it's all very, very sattvic. And I was so impressed. And at the one point that was really flashed, like, wow, this is impossible. Like, that's a place where I always want to live. It's heavenly planet. And I made so many realizations that, what's described in Bhagavad Gita, it's actually possible to manifest in this world. And then one day I participated in Agnihotra, which is like a ceremony to give thanks to Mother Nature for all that she's giving us. And I was very moved. But during the ceremony, like a crow flew into the building, and it just sat there and it looked at me. Oh, that was my sense. It was looking at me. And then I got this realization. It hit me like, oh. And I remembered how Narada Muni said to Vyasadeva, like a place when Vyasadeva had completed the Vedas or wrote them all down, and he was like upset, not satisfied. Narada Muni came and asked him, "Why are you not satisfied? You just wrote this most beautiful, elevated literature, giving human beings the opportunity to live a happy life in every life area. Why are you not happy?" And Vyasadeva said, "Well, you know better than me." And Narada Muni said, "Yeah, you're not happy because you forgot to glorify the Lord. You forgot to glorify Krishna." And that every place where God is not glorified, it's like a pilgrimage for crows. And I remembered this in the moment, and my whole euphoria. I don't know how to say that word in English. My euphoria just crashed. I was like, oh no. And it is such a wonderful place, and what this doctor created is so amazing. And yet it's a pilgrimage for crows if Krishna is not in the center, if he's not in the center. And he's not in the center. I mean, for some he is, or let's say God. Most doctors and therapists, they have, like, they pray to some higher personality. God or Shiva or Vishnu or Kartikeya, or just some, and for them it's all God. And so it's very like I feel very impressed and grateful for that place. I think it's most amazing. And at the same time, I got, for me, in my life, this life, I think my training is to put Krishna in the center and not the heavenly planets, not the sattva, even though I feel so attracted to it. And yeah, like I also got, like, some of the doctors, they, like there's a very young lady doctor. I asked her, "Why did you become an Ayurvedic doctor?" And she said, I didn't plan to, but my family sent me, and it's God Almighty who arranged it for me, because I'm very happy now. And also, like, during treatments, I would observe them. They would give, like, certain, okay, you get this treatment and this medicine. And the main thing that they were doing, they were just observing. They would give treatments and then observe. And I asked one of another lady doctor, like, what is the healing process for her? And she said to me, like, yeah, we give treatments, we give our best according to our knowledge, and then the rest is up to the Almighty. And they were really, like, in this mood, and it was so beautiful and so inspiring for me, like an example of surrendering and trusting and not going into over endeavor. Now I need to do this and I need to do that. I get very active. So I had this opportunity, this analogy in life, and yeah, I want to say, I learned many lessons. I learned a lot about feeling fortunate and grateful. I was so much in this mood of I am so fortunate. And I could see how Krishna is taking care of everything. Like, I wanted to leave earlier than I did, but I couldn't leave because India didn't give. I only had an English, like an English passport, and that was the best passport for me till now to travel. But at that time, when I wanted to go to India, India didn't give visas to the English. Just for a few weeks. I don't know why. Maybe some reaction to past things the British did to the Indians, which is, But also I didn't get a visa. I needed to apply for a Swiss passport in order to get a visa. And I went to India later, and to complete my treatment, I needed to stay for an extra 5 days, which meant I was in India during Gora Purnima, and it had been one of my wishes. Like it would be nice to be in India for Gora Purnima, but the travel plans were different. And so Krishna even heard this desire and arranged in some way that I was there for Gora Purnima. And I wrote a diary every day. In the evening, I would write down a pearl. And the last insight I had, or the last pearl I got, was to make friends with the devotees. So maybe this sounds strange to you, but something I realized in India is that I'm okay to be friends with Sattva Bhakti yogis. And that's my home. And I have many judgments about other devotees. So on my last day, I just had some process around that, and I made friends with the devotees, and I connected with, I want to be the servant of the servant of the servant. That's where I want to focus. And it seemed more practical for me than to wanting to serve Krishna. And then having, just like here. So we're fortunate to be human beings. Demigods are lining up to take birth on earth because it's such a fortunate place. And here's this verse which says it's unfortunate. There's so much confusing information about Krishna. And I have so many mixed feelings about Krishna. And it seems that it doesn't end. Like I was rereading Uddhava visiting Vrindavan. And then there's this incident where Srimati Radharani, she takes a bumblebee for Krishna, I think, or a messenger of Krishna. And she speaks and she laments and no, not just laments, but she speaks really bad of Krishna. And then she thinks, that's all her natural true feelings. And then the next moment she thinks, oh no, the bumblebee is going to tell all this to Krishna, and she starts to speak all nice things about Krishna. Expresses her feelings, her loving feelings for Krishna, and they're all authentic and true too. So I don't know, these mixed feelings might never end. So it's confusing at times. So I thought it's more practical to be the servant of the servant of the servant. First, maybe that's the reason why Lord Chaitanya gave us this verse, this advice to become the servant of the servant of the servant. It's easier. It's maybe less confusing. And so we got home and we took some refugees into our home from the Ukraine, and they're devotees of Krishna. And it also, I think I'm just sharing what I wanted to share and trying to fit it into the purport. But it is true that, also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions, he speaks about, in this analogy, he speaks about the cow, the goat, and the cow is considered as one of the 7 mothers in the Vedas. So earlier on in Canto 1, we hear about the 7 mothers, and why it stood out for me this and touched me is because taking care of these devotees, these refugees, for me is a lot about connecting with the qualities of a mother, like hosting them and taking care of them, and it's like next level training to be loving and also to be clear and to have very clear boundaries. So that's my training. And as I was reading about the cow, I started to meditate on cow and mother, and so the 7 mothers that are described in the Vedas, it's the real mother, the wife of the spiritual master, the wife of the Brahmana, the wife of the king, the cow, the nurse, and the earth. And so I was thinking, wow, I'm glad there are 7 mothers, because many of the mothers listed here I don't have in my life. There is not a mother of a king in my life, or the wife of a Brahmin, or the wife of a spiritual master. I have a real mother. I'm beginning to make friends with cows. Nurse, I'm not sure, and Mother Earth. I feel very connected and sheltered by Mother Earth, actually. So what did I want to say? So my main realization around mother was that a mother needs a support net. And the main recipe to be a mother means to be expert in receiving. To be expert in receiving support and love. So receive the support Mother Earth gives us. And receive support all the other mothers give us that are listed, the 7 mothers. And then who is the original mother? It said the original mother is Srimati Radharani. So to receive love and support and guidance from Srimati Radharani, it said that we learn to serve Krishna by learning how do the gopis serve Krishna, that they are our teachers. So to receive that guidance, to receive that energy. And once someone said to me, like Srimati Radharani's love creates a tsunami in the whole universe. And I was actually meditating on that. And I think it's my personal speculation that some imbalances, some sickness comes. At least I see that in myself when I have some realization of love, let's call it love. Often later on, my body gets sick and I'm flat in bed. And I get to meditate and connect with that realization. So how it all kind of tied together for me, I'm not sure it makes sense for anyone else. For me, it makes sense to see that in the text, Uddhava, he uses the word Lord Hari to describe God. And I was curious about that. Why? And as I was reading again how Uddhava visited Vrindavan, it's described, I got the response why he used Hari. And I will read it to you. So there it says, Lord Krishna's name is Hari, which means one who takes away all the distress from the surrendered souls. Lord Chaitanya states that there cannot be at any time a worship as exalted as that realized by the gopis. Being very anxious about the gopis' grief, Krishna talked with Uddhava and politely requested him to go to Vrindavan. So what I understood is that, I don't know how to call it. Is it understanding or realization or insight or whatever? It just got a lot of meaning for me that Lord Hari is used here. So the one who relieves the surrendered soul of distress and of suffering, because that's the whole reason why Lord Krishna came to this material world in the first place, and that's why Lord Chaitanya came to relieve the world from suffering, from distress, and to and to show, to bring a message. And it just suddenly meant so much to me that Lord Krishna sent Uddhava to Vrindavan to give a message of, hey, I'm thinking of you. I haven't forgotten about you, because it seems that's what Krishna is doing all the time, not just to the inhabitants of Vrindavan, but also to us. Like he's sending us Srila Prabhupada, he's sending us the six Goswamis, he's sending us Lord Jesus, he's sending us so many messengers, and they all come with a message. They give us a message to let us know, hey, this is, they point into the direction, this is the way to go if you want to get out of the misery, get out of the suffering, if you want to become truly happy, truly fulfilled, satisfied. This is the way to go, and this is God, Krishna, or Hari. Hari, he's the one who wants to see us happy. He wants to see us joyful and fulfilled and satisfied. Yeah, so these two words, Lord Hari, became very meaningful as I was preparing for this class and looking at the different aspects that Srila Prabhupada brings in and my own experience. Yes, and then something else I wanted to mention. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's my comments. This text and actually I received I will share it on screen. I received an explanation why the fish could not identify the moon, and I will show it to you. Oh, can I share the screen? Oops. So it's in German. I will translate. There's actually a caricature which is making fun of the education system here in Switzerland, and I guess it's true for other places in the world. So we have the teacher who says, "Dear children, so to be fair with everyone, just fair with everyone, you all get the same assignment. Please climb the tree." So the monkey, the penguin, the elephant, the fish, I don't know what's that in English, the dog, they all need to climb the tree, and that's fair. And I got this from a friend yesterday. And I could just see, like, yes, that's the reason why the fish couldn't identify the moon. Like, didn't get the proper education. It's all because the education system is wrong. So we could blame it on the education system, but actually, no. we have like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada, who give us very, very detailed and distinct knowledge that we can share with others and find like an appropriate way, so that also, you know, an appropriate understanding to connect with each person, and to give them a little bit of knowledge, little bit of knowledge that will relieve them or protect them from further suffering. So I'll start the screen sharing and I'll read the text again. This universe with all its planets is most unfortunate, and even more unfortunate are the members of the Yadu dynasty, because they could not identify Lord Haru as the personality of Godhead, any more than the fish could identify the moon. So I invite comments and questions and additions and corrections and sharing. Ladini.
I appreciate your class very much. It's nice hearing from you. And I have a few points. Like one is like the Sattvic beautiful environment. I'm just reading in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna leaving Mathura and arriving to Dwarka, like these two chapters. And I think there is a description of Mathura, but I'm not sure because it all makes. And it's like described like such a beautiful city with like lakes and lotus flowers and swans and like beautiful gardens. And then Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that like we need for our special realization these things. So I like that. So I guess you can have spiritual realization everywhere, of course, but in that particular purport, Srila Prabhupada like makes a point it's important to be in that like beautiful sattvic, inspiring environment. And then the Ayurveda, yeah, I so much like I don't know the other Vedas, but the Ayurveda so much highlight for me how Vyasadeva brought all the Vedas just for like self-realization and coming closer to Krishna. And in Ayurveda, which is the Veda that I know a little, it's so obvious, like how all the diseases are just the opportunity to understand, like come closer to ourselves. And I was appreciating your explanation of the principles. I made notes. And then I think last thing I want to comment is like Buddha was saying that this place is most unfortunate. So I think that's like he's just coming from the emotional stage. He's like going to speak to Vidura about Krishna left the planet. So I imagine Srimati Radharani would think like, oh, this universe is most unfortunate when Krishna left Vardhana. Like that. So that's my few points. I think I wrote many more notes, but if no one speaks, I will go to.
Thank you, Ladini. Yeah, I like this point about Uddhava. He's in such deep emotions, like Malini was speaking about it last week. Like he's in such deep absorption of Krishna and feeling separation from him. So he's speaking from that point. And what you said about a sattvic place, yeah, I didn't know. Oh, there's an echo. No? Do you hear it too? Okay. Oh yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, what I take from this experience is not that I shouldn't endeavor for sattva. Actually, my mind got so peaceful in this place, and it was so easy to remember Krishna and verses from Bhagavad Gita. There's like, yeah, and I wish to go back to a place or to live in a place like that. I just took away from that to not make that the focus, like to not put that in the center. Oh, it has to be, I have to be in a sattvic place and then. Yes, Malini.
Building upon what you just said, like similarly with Ayurveda or with healing in general, it seems that if the goal of healing is to be healthy, then it's the same thing. It's just like a material goal, really. We can say it's spiritual, but it's a material goal. And Ayurveda, because it's made to self-realization, then the goal is in practicing Ayurveda is self-realization, is responsibility to have a healthy body to serve Krishna. But it's not in itself the goal of being healthy, like the goal of, like we practice sattva and sattvic living for sure. So much of Prabhupada's teaching is about supporting us to go to sattva, but then it's not the goal. And that is not going to lead us anywhere. So I think that it's a really important distinction you're making. And I'm looking for a word in English. It's not contradictory, it's not contradiction, but in Krishna consciousness, there is so many things like, we are supposed to be more humble and think lower than the worm in the stool. But then, like, it's not possible to practice Krishna consciousness with a low self-worth. So there is those, how it's called those, it's not contradiction, there's a word I'm looking for, but I'm not looking. Dear Govinda, you know what word I'm looking for?
Complementary?
No, it's not complementary. It's aberration. No, it's not. But anyway.
Paradox?
Yeah,
I'm guessing paradox is para bohi.
Dichotomism, I guess.
Like paradoxical.
Paradoxical. Paradox is a very good word. Yeah, there is paradox, and it seems to come to the level of Uddhava or the Yadu dynasty of feeling unfortunate. The first step is to feel fortunate. So to come to a place of feeling lower than a worm in the stool, first we need to have a very strong sense of self and like a solid self-worth. Otherwise it's grungy, and otherwise it's not conducive for spiritual life. So similarly, you were feeling, I feel fortunate, and yeah, we want to feel privileged and feeling fortunate. And as we make advancements to feeling gratitude, then on the other side of that, on the other side, sometimes we say on the other side of the Viraj river, on the other side of that, there is that deep, deep feeling of feeling so unfortunate that, like Arjuna, he says the same, like, oh, when he saw the universal form, he felt so unfortunate that he made offenses. I slept in the same bed with Krishna, and I was thinking he was a friend to me. And when he was in contact with the universal form, he felt so unfortunate. And in fact, he's the most fortunate. Like Uddhava is the most fortunate, and also the Yadu dynasties, they are the most fortunate. So there is also this paradox in Krishna consciousness, and which make it is really so much stepping out of duality, because we'll see everything in terms of duality. So paradoxes are very difficult to integrate as long as we are conditioned. However, those paradoxes that we are constantly hearing about, they're helping us to step out of duality of good and bad and right and wrong and all those things, and just accept that, like to be unfortunate, one need to feel very fortunate. Yes. So that's what came to me. And I appreciate your class very much, and all your sharing, and seeing the opportunity in this class to step out of the body being sick and demanding your attention to just perform devotional service anyway. So I appreciate that you have decided to do that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Malini, for sharing. Yeah, and for bringing up this paradox. There are so many paradoxes. Someone asked me yesterday, so do you still feel the effects from your Ayurveda retreat? And I said, yes, I do, but you're sick. I said, yeah, I'm like, my body's sick. I didn't share that, but I later on thought about that and said, yeah, and I see a big change, because now I'm sick and I see it as, instead of, oh, it's a punishment, I see I get some time to just spend with Krishna. Like I spend hours just reading and chanting and chant and be happy. It's easy for me to chant and be happy when I'm sick.
Yeah, and there is no rule in the universe that says that we should be healthy. It's just our mind thinks that, but where is that rule? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, I thought I just recently read something from Srila Prabhupada, just confirming this discussion. And Prabhupada says, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially Prabhupada says, to understand the philosophy, there's no place for emotion. It's because Uddhava is being very emotional here. So Prabhupada says, there's no place for emotion to understand the philosophy. And then Prabhupada says, then he said that at high levels of realization of the philosophy, then it's all emotion. Then it's all about emotion. And of course, that's emotion on the other side of the Viraj River. That's the spiritual emotion. But material emotion pretty much just gets in the way of understanding the philosophy. And so, like Srimati Radharani speaking to the bumblebee, Uddhava in this verse, Srila Prabhupada when he's writing and he's saying, I have no knowledge and I have no devotion. Well, no, Prabhupada, you're just wrong. You're not getting it. No, you got a lot of knowledge and you have so much. But he's actually emotionally feeling I have no knowledge and devotion in a way that moves him to even deeper enthusiasm to serve Bhaktisiddhanta's mission. So Prabhupada said, at high stages of realization of philosophy, then it's all about emotion. Then it's all emotion.
Thank you for sharing that.
Just read Rukmini wrote a chat. Thank you for this sober balancing class to the constant ticking of time.
You probably have a clock around you.
Oh, do you hear that?
We can hear it quite yeah, very well.
I'm in Switzerland, of course I have a clock here.
I was thinking, of course, it's Switzerland. We are going to hear the clock, and it needs to be a mechanical clock, otherwise it's not Switzerland.
Oh,
I didn't notice the clock.
anything else? Ladini, you have more?
I was already kind of covered. I don't know how to prolong the conversation.
I'll just say I appreciate this perspective of Anandini. You said it's easy for you to, when you're sick, to chant and be happy. And I said, wow, okay. Because it's the exact opposite for me. When I'm sick, I have a problem fulfilling my vow of chanting. I just want to be comfortable and I don't want to do any kind of service. So at least it was a little, oh, okay, that's possible, or a different perspective. So I feel challenged in that way.
Since the Ayurveda retreat.
Since
I can relate to your challenge. I can relate to your challenge, and I'm just noticing that since then, now the sick body, it feels easy.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, like I think maybe later on, or just while researching for this class, I read from Srila Prabhupada how he says, like, yeah, let's practice Krishna consciousness as long as we're healthy, as long as our mind is healthy, as long as our body is strong. And actually the Ayurvedic doctor, what like created my trust in him was when he said, you should take care of your health so that your body is strong to do your sadhana. And yeah, like health is important for our sadhana.
In that sense, it's complementary.
Sorry?
Good health is complementary.
Could you say more what you mean by that? I don't understand the word complementary.
It's supportive.
Uh-huh. Yes, Srila Prabhupada, I have it on my fridge. Srila Prabhupada, I don't know to which one of his disciples he wrote in a letter, like here's the priorities: health, sadhana, service. And I put that on my fridge to remember, yeah, take care of health, And then I'm strong to do my sadhana. And if there's some energy left, I'll do some service.
It is a priority.
Thank you, Rukmini. Nico, you have your hand raised.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for class. I was traveling through the airport security, so I picked up a few of it, like not the whole thing, but yeah, I'm really resonating with this Ayurveda, this idea of healthy body. I really resonated with the anxiety, the vata, and how it's like around trying to control and not trusting God, like acting like, oh, I'm in control, like I have to control. So yeah, really, I found a lot of shelter and comfort in that idea of just like trusting Krishna. And then I really like the idea of like, I remember the thing you just referred to. Yeah, Prabhupada wrote like number 1 is health, or at least what I saw is like number 1 health, number 2 japa, number 3 reading, and number 4 seva. Like that was the list that I saw that was attributed to Prabhupada. And then the last thing, like I've really been like thinking about this like idea that like the body is a temple, like in our hearts is both Krishna and the soul, and like we clean the temple outside, so we should take care and clean the temple of our body as well. Thank you so much. It's good to be with you all.
Thank you, Nico. Yeah, like this, it was actually such a deep realization at the moment. I don't know how to make realizations last. It was like a moment of remembering this verse in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhava Mat Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mam Evashyasi Satyam Te Pratijani Priyasime. If I got it right, that's the verse where Krishna says, like, I will deliver you from all sinful reaction, do not fear. Like, just give up any religion, any speculation, any thoughts I have to control, or I should be in control. Just give it up. And for me, at that moment, it was like, I will deliver you from all sinful reaction means I get delivered, I get relieved from anxieties. I don't need to fear. Yeah. And then I wanted to add something to the last thing. What was the last thing you said?
Like the body being a temple.
Oh, the body being a temple. Yes. Yeah, I find that a very beautiful meditation, and I came to really love the morning ritual of putting on tilak, like every to mark all these points on the body, and like with the name of Krishna, with the name of the Lord, and to remember, this, like in the morning, remember I got this body from Mother Earth, from Mother Nature, and it's a temple, and my soul lives in it, I live in it, and Krishna as Paramatma lives in it too. And each morning I get to remember that, even though I might forget again after a few minutes or hours. At least one day I remember this is the temple, and I want to keep it clean and strong and healthy.
I also like the point that you made about how self-esteem is also kind of complementary to devotional service, supportive, to balance.
I think Malini made that point. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, to have a healthy sense of who we are, strong sense of who we are as a person, and with all the qualities and gifts that we have. And then on the other side, there's the worm in the stool. But I think for us, at least for me, it's about like shining in that humility, having the humility to shine with the God-given qualities, and have a healthy, strong sense of that. Yes, I get to contribute to the world. Yes, I get to give to others. And yes, I get to receive also. Anything else? So I'll read the text again. This universe with all its planets is most unfortunate, and even more unfortunate are the members of the Yadu dynasty because they could not identify Lord Hari as the personality of Godhead, any more than the fish could identify the moon. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, have a good day.